Well-known tractor manufacturer John Deere, also known as Deere & Company, is facing a lawsuit from the Federal Trade Commission and 2 states. The lawsuit is in regards to the company's interactive software tool and farmers' right to repair. Mark Watney, president of North Dakota Farmers Union, says farmers are struggling with the options to repair their own equipment or have it done locally. He says they are reliant on implement dealers and technicians' ability to repair, and delays could be costly for farmers with seeding and harvesting deadlines. Watney says this issue has been common with other equipment manufacturers, but says John Deere has been more progressive with their technology. He added the lawsuit is not a win, but will help clear up the questions of farmers across the U.S.
Is this really something that is logical from their perspective and farmers, don't quite understand, or is this actually overreach on their part?
Now, Watney says he's hopeful the lawsuit will help provide clarity for both parties on how systems are currently running. We did also reach out to John Deere, who called the FTC's lawsuit baseless, saying in part, this lawsuit, filed on the eve of a change in administration, ignores the company's long-standing commitment to customer self-repair and the consistent progress and innovation we have made over time. We have their full statement on our website.